Welcome back to Beyond Dafeet. My name's Josh, and in today's video we're going to be comparing the Asics Novablast to quite a few different brands, so you know whether you should buy this high cushion neutral trainer against some other quality ones on the market. Let's jump straight into it. So we did just drop our first run in the Novablast. However, I'm going to quickly run over what this shoe's for again. It's a high cushion neutral daily trainer, so it is very flexible, running all the way through the foot. You got that maximum stack height underneath with heaps of cushioning running all the way through. This is Asics' new Flytefoam Blast cushioning, so it is their bouncy soft cushioning, yet it does bounce you straight out of the shoe. It's quite responsive and it feels quite energized overall, but how does it compete to some other shoes on the market? So if we put it up against the Clifton 6, it looks quite chunky underneath. However, it doesn't have as much stack height. You're looking at 29mm at the heel in this guy, where we've got 32 in the Asics, so you do actually have more cushioning under your heel in the Asics shoe. I'd probably say the Novablast feels a bit more bouncy underfoot, whereas with the rocker in the Hoka Clifton 6, you need that more firm cushioning underneath the foot so that the Mera rocker does work. If you want that rocker feel, I'd lean towards this. However, if you do want that bit more bouncy, soft feel underfoot, I'd look towards the Novablast. Overall, your cushioning in both shoes are quite good. Upper in both shoes does hug the foot quite nicely. I dare say you get a more dialed in fit with the Novablast. Clifton has a bit more volume throughout that midfoot area, but definitely a better heel counter on the Hoka. Locks your foot in a little bit better around the back, a bit more of a bucket seat. So if you are someone who isn't as neutral and you do have a little bit of a flexible foot, definitely avoid the Novablast. Go more towards the Clifton, because with that bucket seat it is a lot more stable, even though it is a neutral shoe. Comparing the Novablast to the Saucony Triumph, your Triumph does have more cushioning under the foot. You got a 33 to a 25 at your forefoot, so a little bit extra cushioning. It's only about 5mm in comparison between the two. However, you got an 8mm drop in the Triumph in comparison to your 10mm, so if you do prefer your heel race a little bit more, I look towards the Novablast. If you do want that slightly lower drop in the shoe, I lean towards the Saucony. Pretty much both shoes are really cushioned. Apart from the Ultra Boost, these two shoes are probably your softest on the market right now. You sink really far into the shoes and they both are quite bouncy. Pretty say the Novablast again is a little bit more flexible overall, where your Triumph will offer you a little bit more stability. However, for both shoes they are very neutral and both very flexible. Breathability would be your biggest two separators in these two shoes. Your Novablast is going to breathe a lot better across the forefoot area, so if you are in that kind of hot, humid climate, I lean towards this guy. With such a dense padded upper on your Triumph, you're not going to breathe as well in the shoe. In terms of heel counters, if you prefer a more padded heel counter, lean towards a Triumph, whereas your Novablast is a lot more slim. It's not as firm around the back. With that, you don't have as much stability again. Overall, durability would be a big separator in these two, hence your price difference as well. With your Triumphs, the outer sole is going to be way more durable. Definitely looking about 1,000 Ks out of this guy, where the Novablast, I think you're going to struggle to kind of get about 800 because of how soft it is and the limited rubber they got going around. It's just not going to be quite as durable. However, you do get that more bouncy ride underneath the foot. Is a bit more breathable. So either way, they're both great shoes. Comparing the Asics Novablast to the New Balance 1080, both shoes do have that maximum cushioning system underneath and do have that slight little bit of a rocker. We've noticed a lot more in the 1080 in comparison to the Novablast, as that bevel is a bit more pronounced at the heel and your forefoot area in both shoes are fairly similar. In terms of your fit and feel of the shoes overall, the New Balance 1080 does wrap around the midfoot a lot nicer with this kind of threading they got going on. Novablast, you do have a little bit more room at your midfoot area in this guy. Breathability wise, both are great. Your hyper knit works well, so is your jacquard mesh they got going on in the Novablast. Your cushioning underneath the foot, Novablast does feel a little bit more bouncy again initially. However, once you do wear in the 1080, it does get a little bit softer, a little bit more responsive, and as a result probably is a better cushioning system. Durability in both shoes, they're both going to work awesome. Probably looking about that 800 kilometers in both, maybe a little bit less out of the Novablast because it is so flexible. If you had a great running technique, you will get a little bit longer out of the Novablast, but for most people that do pronate a little bit, you're just going to chew down that inside of the shoe. Flexibility in both shoes, Novablast a little bit more flexible, where the 1080 is going to provide you with that slightly wider, more stable platform overall. Your heels in both, your 1080 uses an ultra heel, this guy just uses kind of that stock standard heel counter. However, the heel counter in the 1080 does probably lock in the foot a little bit better, where the Asics is just kind of that little bit more flimsy around the back. However, both great cushion shoes. Now with the Asics Novablast, this could be compared to the Nimbus Lite. If you're preferring that more bouncy feel underfoot, I lean towards this guy. If you're traditionally running in a gel Nimbus 22, by all means probably go towards this one. The Nimbus Lite is nice and soft and lightweight and be a lot more stable. With the Novablast, it is extremely flexible. Nimbus Lite is going to have a much more firm heel counter. It's not going to have that really soft, plush, bouncy feeling that a lot of runners are looking for these days. If you've been running in the gel Nimbus and you do like kind of that firmer feel overall, but you just want a little bit more softness, go towards the Nimbus Lite. However, if you want that ridiculously soft cushioning underfoot, like your Clifton, your Triumph, your 1080, lean more towards the Novablast. The Novablast, in comparison to the Infinity React, both shoes have a very similar cushioning underneath the foot. I think these are probably your most two comparable, not by category but what they feel like. Your cushioning underneath both shoes feels really similar, gives you that nice soft bouncy feel the whole way through the stride. You both got a 10mm drop in both shoes. Overall, they feel very similar underneath. Blindfold you, put you in the same midsoles, and you probably wouldn't notice a difference. The biggest standout in both shoes I found was the upper. The Novablast is what this guy should have had. It's a much better heel counter around the back. It actually locks you in. You do have that option to lock lace it. Your upper is going to be very similar in terms of breathability, but just gives you that nice lockdown. Whereas with the Infinity, the shoes that we have talked about in previous videos, if you're tossing up between these two, I would look towards the Novablast. However, if you do need a little bit more stability in some shoes, I would look towards something else. About wraps it up for the Novablast against other shoes on the market. Could definitely compare this towards some Skechers in your performance range as well. Your cushioning system does feel somewhat similar to those guys also. About wraps it up. If you learn anything from this video or you do want to know more in the future, smash the like button, hit the subscribe, turn on the bell, and make sure you drop a comment down below. Just let us know what you think. If there's anything you want to add on, jump into the community and let's get involved. Cheers.